viewers, my name is Pastor Yvonne Chipindu. I hope I find you well too. We are still continuing with freedom in Christ as we have learned that Jesus is annulled the first, that is the law, and he has given us this new covenant that we are in this dispensation that we are in. We also want to know more about what Jesus Christ taught us. So today we want to talk about tithing. When we are talking about tithing, we can't leave Malachi chapter 3 because we do hear it in church so much. So I want to read Malachi chapter 3 for you, verse 10. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, so there will be enough food in my temple. If you do so, say the Lord of heaven's armies, I will open the windows of heaven for you. I will pour out a blessing so great you won't have enough room to take it. Like I have said before, that we are no longer under the law, but we are in the new covenant. But still under the law, I still have got one or two questions to ask you. Like in verse 10, they say, bring all your tithes into the storehouse. Okay, so there will be enough food in my temple. We know as we go to church, we do have orphans, we do have widows, we do have the blinds, even those who are not even employed. So now God is telling us to bring the tithes to his temple or to his storehouse, so that people won't be found wanting. So that even those who are in need, they are assisted from this storehouse. So now, Pastor, what are you trying to say? I want to give you this homework. When you are giving your tithe, where is this money going to? Are you helping the needy? Do you even have this welfare side or welfare department where you are helping the widows, where you are helping the blind, where you are helping the crippled in your community? Like I want to give you this example to Roman Catholic. A Roman Catholic did build schools and hospitals. And do you know where this money was coming from? They were taking it from this storehouse and they were giving it back to the community, to the people of God. Because everyone is God's people. So now they were giving back to the people of God. So they were taking from the storehouses, at least it is accounted for. And your tithe that you are giving right now in 2022, where is it going to? To Pastor Yvonne, so that you have a mansion. Hear me clearly. I want to live in a mansion. I even want a private jet, but I'm not going to get a private jet from your tithe. Oh, Pastor, you are just saying because your ministry is still small. No, but this is the truth. We want to stand in for the truth. If someone is giving a tithe, he's giving to God. So if I then take it and go and build my mansion for my 3 children, am I being fair when some don't even have anywhere to stay? When they are living in streets, we all have these street kids. Look at this. There was this pandemic. There is still this pandemic of COVID. Many people were left homeless. Many people slept without anything to eat. But there were storehouses. We do have churches. We were paying our tithes. Pastor Yvonne, where did you take our money to? Because if Pastor Yvonne had a storehouse, she was going to take out of that and help the needy. But alas, why? Because Pastor Yvonne is being greedy. So now I am telling you this. God doesn't need your money. Everything belongs to God. So he's got everything. But when you are giving, like I have pointed out when I read this, that we are in the New Testament. We are no longer based with the law. But whatever you are giving, where is your money going to? I also want to take you to Luke chapter 21. While Jesus was in the temple, he watched the rich people dropping their gifts in the collection box. Then a poor widow came by and dropped in 2 small coins. I tell you the truth, Jesus said, this poor widow has given more than all the rest of them. For they have given a tiny part of their surplus. But she, poor as she is, has given everything that she has. So you see, Jesus Christ is more concerned about your heart and giving you all, because he's saying these rich people, they're just giving their little part of what they have, or maybe their tenth of what they have. But this woman, this poor widow, has given everything that she has, and she has left with nothing. I also want to take you to Acts chapter 2. As I have said that the New Testament begins in Acts. That's the first church. So we want to read what they were doing. Were they tithing? Because if I have read the whole book of Acts, I never heard anything about tithing. But I want to read for you Acts chapter 2, verse 42. All the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, and to fellowship, and to sharing in meals, and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. Verse 45. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money among themselves and with those who were in need. So this is the first church. They sold all their possessions and they divided those proceeds to each and every one whom they were with. So it wasn't to themselves only, but they sold everything and they give wholeheartedly. Imagine you selling your house in Borodale and taking the money to church, and you divide the whole congregation and you give each and everyone an equal share. This is what they did. They gave all. And let us look at God. How was God a giver? Yes, he was a giver. And God, John 3 verse 16, it says, he so loved the world that he gave, I love this part, his only begotten. So God didn't have 2 sons. He didn't have 30. He only had one. And what did he do? He didn't give us Jesus' hand or just Jesus' head, but he gave us all that he had. And do you know that when you give your all, you get more? Like when at that time when God gave us his only son, he had only Jesus. But now how many sons does he have now? He has me, he has you, he has people from all over, because he had given his all. So what I am talking about here is that when we are giving in this new era, in this New Testament, because our priest has changed everything, we are not commanded to give a tenth, but we are even commanded to give, number one, out of our hearts. Don't just give because you are supposed to give. Like many people, because it is commanded that it's a tithe, they just give even whenever they don't want to, but just because it is commanded to. So now we, number one, we have to give out of love. We have to give wholeheartedly. We have to give because we want to. And number two, don't give to get. Like many people, they say, I am giving so that I will get some more. God is not your bank. Are you giving Pastor Yvonne so that she can drive a Range Rover? I told you that I want to drive a Range Rover. But if my business is not giving me money to drive a Range Rover, then I'm going to use a Corolla. But I'm not going to take God's money for my sake. Instead of helping the needy, instead of helping the widows, people, even children, they don't have fees. But I am enjoying in a Range Rover, whereas it is a storehouse for God. So now, you have this question as well, that Pastor, where are you taking our money to? As we are giving, as we are not giving the 10%, like Pastor Yvonne has taught us, we are giving I'm giving my 100%. Like as I have pointed out in Acts chapter 2, they sold their houses in Borodale. They took those millions, brought it to church to Pastor Yvonne, and they divided that money, and everybody got an equal share. Meaning that these people, they were not heartless, meaning that these people were giving out of their hearts. They were giving out of love. He has given everything, and everything is being divided to each and everyone who is in that church. So when we are giving, don't just give without knowledge. Like I have said, don't just give without knowledge. And when you give, you can also go to the pastor directly and ask Pastor Yvonne, where are you taking my money to? What are you using it? Are you giving me money to buy Brazilian? Listen, my God is too big. If he wants me to have Brazilian hair, he will just command somebody to bring it to me, because he is my God. But when you give your offering and your tithe, it's supposed to be stored in a storehouse. When we face a pandemic like this, people were supposed to get something from the church, but it's not happening.